Hello everyone, welcome to the very first KneeDown Podcast. My name's Daniel Handover, joining me is Mr. Matt Grant. And what we're going to do today, and let's be clear, this is our very first podcast. This is the first podcast I've ever done. I don't know about Matt, but what we're going to do is talk a little bit about what happened post-testing. There's lots to go through. Lots of things that had happened, if people are aware of what happened in the testing, but if they're not, obviously that's what we're going to go through today. So, Matt, we've got... Hello. Something that we want to try and dive into, I think we can just jump into straight away. Who impressed you, and also who, if anyone, disappointed you in the test, in the post-test, the first test?
Good question. I have been glued to social media this week and gauging the response from many people. A lot of people have visceral reactions to certain disappointments. I'm not ready to pick a disappointment yet, but I'll get into a little bit of a not so impressed. We'll get to it. But impressed, 100%, Alex Marquez, Frankie Morbidelli, and Fermin Aldeguer. I am chuffed to bits with those three, especially Alex Marquez, because I have mentioned once or twice that I think this is the year that Alex Marquez will win a featured Grand Prix. Not a sprint, a full-on 25 points, you've done it. And it probably won't just be in Sepang, it'll be somewhere that he's good at as well as. At Sepang, yes, he is good. He's a circuit specialist at Sepang, has won many races there in the past as well from Moto2. He knows what he's doing around there. But Frankie Morbidelli, I still think people are too harsh on Frankie. Last year, I think he did exactly what was expected to him, and he's been showing improvements. Now, still on the GP24 Ducati for another season, giving him a chance to improve and continue to leave where he left off last season. With the support of the VR46 Ducati, he's done a marvellous job for me so far. But our favourite rookie, well, maybe not our favourite rookie, but the rookie for the favourites of possibly Rookie of the Year, I think Fermin Aldeguer has been excellent. I think he has adapted to that Ducati quickly, as expected, and is already looking rather promising. And it was so impressive, actually, for Fermin Aldeguer that due to Fabio Di Gianantonio's injury, they allowed him to ride a GP25 Ducati on the last day of the Sepangtest, which shows a hell of a lot of promise from Ducati. Those are my favourites, and without talking too much, I have a habit of that, I'll ask you your favourites and then we'll move on to the disappointments. What do you think?
Now, right, to be clear, let's just make something perfectly clear. I'm much newer to MotoGP than you are. I've not watched it for very long, right? Now, I would consider myself certainly a fan, but I'm still getting up to speed with this. So I watched the very first testing last year and, I've started to get the general lay of the land when it comes to that sort of thing. So, take what I say potentially more with a pinch of salt, just because I'm still getting into it. Yeah, like definitely for me, yeah, Fermin Aldeguer. I think let's be honest, the Ducati is quick. It's gonna be quick. Like that GP24 is not gonna be a slow bike. But I think he did really well. Like arguably, I think he was the quickest rookie, wasn't he? Like on multiple occasions.
He was, yeah.
Yeah, and okay, I know the Ducati has got something to say about that, and Ducati itself, but he just did really well, like really, really good. Someone I think, again, that's done really well that I'm looking forward to seeing, Quartararo. I mean, again, we know how much they improved. We know how much that Yamaha's got faster over the last, from the Sepangtest before and after. So, yeah, Fabio, really impressed. I think, yeah, those two are definitely the ones for me that stood out. Actually, sorry, one more, Zarco.
Yes.
The highest, was he the highest Honda rider? Like the fastest Honda rider?
He was, but only to the last day. He's been testing a lot of different packages and stuff like that. But Joan Mir has done really well. I've got to give him his credit. But Johan Zarco is the top guy at Honda, no doubt. He is rapid and he has that experience and the talent and the knowledge to continue to expedite their speed and improvement, which they have improved by a good 2 or 3 tenths, I think, in some areas. So yeah, I'd agree with you on that one, Dan. I'll confess I forgot about Johan Zarco and I can't believe it.
That we'll touch on this later, but that's part of my potential hot take as well. But we'll touch on that a little bit later.
Foreshadowing.
Yes, we'll come to that in a sec. Disappointment wise, what are you thinking?
I had difficulty with this. I don't know whether I see everything as sunshine and rainbows, but honestly, I had a difficult time because it's so early. It's so early in the test. I have seen some takes, let's say, in social media with riders already being discharged immediately the second they touch the motorcycle. I've got to say, I don't really feel that's the case. It's day one. It's Sepang. We've got to wait till Buriram, which is very soon. Well, today as we're recording this one. I honestly feel that if I had to put one, I would say that KTM has slightly disappointed me. Only Pedro Acosta was in the top 10 all weekend. And as this session is finished and now concluded, Pedro Acosta's only man and he's 6th place. I did expect Brad Binder to be right there with him. Maverick Vinales and Air Bastianini, yeah, they're still getting adapted to the RC16. But I will say it's a little bit of a disappointment. I expected Enea to pretty much jump onto that like it was made for him. It was just a bit of an instinct I had. I know how good Enea was with the Ducati. But I did expect KTM to be a bit further up, and especially as the concern regarding finance and things like that, I expected them to be straight away on it to say that, squash the rumours, lads, we're here. And it didn't really happen yet, but we'll wait to Buriram. But that's the only thing I could really say is a disappointment, let's say. But Dan, do you have any particular disappointment, or are you on my side where you think everything is glorious about MotoGP?
Again, KTM is probably the biggest thing for me. I just thought they'd be somewhere. Now, again, we're talking about this from a fan perspective, right? Like, we don't know all the ins and outs. We just don't have any of that. We don't have any of that inside knowledge. Well, not yet, at least. Hopefully, as the channel grows, we have an opportunity to get that. But I don't know. KTM just seemed to not be anywhere. I don't know if they were just testing more race packages or something and focusing more on long term rather than short term.
They do go for that radical fairing change every now and again. You know the one, the ugly one.
Oh yeah, So
they're still trying different things, and I certainly hope they get it right.
They are trying stuff. Like, you can't knock it for them for trying. Yeah, I know that. The whole KTM, the whole finance thing. Is it going to affect them? Like, I don't know, maybe there's just a team morale, just deflatedness about the whole thing because there's just been a load of rubbish happening over the last, 3 months. So maybe, KTM, I'm looking through the list of what we got. I've seen so many people talk about Chantra, and we were talking about this before we recorded it. I thought, now, I'm not saying that I'm disappointed with him, and it's because anyone that jumps on a MotoGP bike is good.
Yeah, of course.
I think because there's so many, the stakes are so high, and rookies that have come in. Let's be honest, Acosta just one of the best rookies that we've seen in the last God knows how many years.
Yeah,
he set that standard so high now that I don't know, is it really difficult that when a rookie comes in and is good, but is going to take a little bit of time to get up to speed, everyone just dismisses it straight away? I don't know. That was probably the one that I thought would do better, but I don't know if that's because my perception has been skewed because I jumped in properly last year and went, oh my God, Pedro Acosta is just every rookie must be like this. And maybe that's not the case.
I think that's a really, really good take because Pedro Acosta has set the benchmark for rookie. He is the precedent now of rookies. If you're following suit with Fermin Aldeguer, Ayagura, Somkat Chantra, and you go, oh, do you know who the rookie of the year last year was? Oh yeah, it's Pedro Acosta. You think, oh, I'm not competing with that. Because Pedro Acosta is already tearing up the record books and making history as every single time we see him. Almost. But for the other rookies, apart from Pedro Acosta, you go the year before, Augusto Fernandez, a couple of years before that, Raul Fernandez, with Remy Gardner. Apart from Pedro Acosta, I would say Fabio Quartararo was probably the only standout rookie that we've had. So it's not that often we get a rookie that comes in and just kicks the doors open. Marquez probably being the noticeable one from 2013. Shout out Johan Zarco, though, for 2017, I think it was, or 18. He came in and it looked like he was going to win the first race in Qatar. And honestly, I thought he was going to until he crashed in turn 3, I think it was, in Qatar. But I would say it's very difficult for the rookies, and I have seen a lot of Chantra slander on social media, and I'm shocked. I don't understand it. Because he's only 4/10 slower than the Moto2 world champion Ayagora. And 4/10 over a long-term season is probably going to be minimised, unless Ayagora takes that Aprilia and does even better. Because the RC213V is not the same as the Aprilia RSGP, and nor is it the same as the GP24 Ducati that Fermin Aldeguer is going to use. So I think Chantra just needs a lot of time. And something we talked about with here on KneeDown and what we made as a social media post was the fact that Somkiat Chantra was the only rider to do 200 plus laps in testing.
Yeah, that's insane.
That is mental. 70 laps in one day. 65 the next, and 69 the last day. That is pure dedication, and I think he'll be absolutely fine. I am seeing a lot of slander, but I say stick with him. Give that lad a chance. He has been improving in Moto 2, but at the same expectation, he's never been the top guy of Moto 2. I think people should be looking at Ayagora and giving him the pressure. Not saying they should, but I think if you had to pick someone to focus on, I think Ayagora deserves more attention. And yet somehow he's sort of just glided through, and no one's really mentioned him or talked about him, which is a strange one for me. It's a lot of the attention's been on Fermin or Somkiat Chantra. And yet the Moto2 world champion is just enjoying the ride for now.
I mean, to be fair, at this point, is it bad being just sort of under the radar, doing what you should be doing, and just I don't know. I'd probably prefer that, to be honest.
I agree.
I don't want to have. I wouldn't want to have all that pressure of either being you're the next best thing, or you're not, as it turns out.
But that is Ayagora. He's a workhorse, quiet workhorse, the silent assassin. So I think this will be perfect for him. If he gets all the pressure and the naysayers, I think it's just going to be a negative. But for him now, yeah, he's fine.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I said, you mentioned earlier, it's early to tell. It's early doors yet, so we don't know. We don't know what that could mean. So, actually, to be fair, that probably brings us on to the next thing that we wanted to go through and what we wanted to catch up with. What was Marc Marquez's Ducati debut like, and was it expected? Like, did he do what he should have done, and did he do what we thought he was going to do?
I'm going to say, from a fan perspective who's watched for 10, 15 plus years, I would say so, yes, because this is now a chance for Gigi Dall'Igna and Ducati to give Marquez the greatest bike they can to make sure he wins or Pecco wins this season. So I think a lot of this is the long-term game. They need to learn now whether the GP24 Ducati was the best version of the Ducati, or do they need the 25th variant of the Bologna Bullet to give one of those guys their third or seventh MotoGP World Championship. So I think it's expected so far. I don't think there's an adaptation period for Marc Marquez. I mean, he's one of the greatest riders of all time. He'll ride anything. I think he'll be fine with just working out. But I will mention, before I get to you, apologies, but I don't think Ducati have really shown their cards yet. I don't think at all. And there's a slight uncertainty regarding the GP25. Apparently on the last day of testing, they actually reverted back to the GP24. So, long-term game in my opinion. But, Dan, I know you like Marquez. What are you thinking?
Yeah, well, so before we go, I'm pretty sure, so I was watching the first, because again, like Matt said, we're recording this literally as the first day's finished of the Buriram test. I was watching Jack Appleyard talk to, name has slipped my mind.
Davide Tardozzi?
Yeah, that's one, Tardozzi. He was chatting with Davide, and I'm pretty sure, like, what he was going to was saying that they're going to go back to the 24. Like, at least the engine. I think they're still deciding on what their aero packages are going to be like, but they're going back to the 24 engine. Pecco, Mark, and Gigi are going to decide on that tonight, and then they'll make a decision. Because for those of you that don't know, this is a slight segue, but still relevant to the Ducatis and Mark. The there is an engine freeze. For certain manufacturers, there's going to be an engine freeze for this year and next year because the regulations are changing for 2027. So because of that, the stakes are a little bit higher to make sure that they pick the right engine. And what they're trying to decide now is that 2025 engine going to be that much better, or is it just stick with what they know and they struck gold last year? So that's what they're looking to do. And from my understanding, I'm pretty sure they're going to stick with 2024 from what Davide was saying, but we'll see. Was Marquez's debut as expected? I mean, yes. I think, let's be honest, like, I don't think there's a debate around that. Like, he's up there.
He's fast.
He's fast. What else can you say? Like, what else can you say around he's fast? We know he's fast. I've not been watching that long, but I've been watching long enough that, again, the first race I watched was Jerez in 2020 when Mark sort of crashed. And then I was watching with a load of friends, and all of my friends went, because he was 18th or something, and all of my friends said, he'll be a podium by the end of the race. I'm like, there's no way. There's not a possibility. And just went through the field like he was standing still. And I went, really, how? Yeah. So, I've been introduced to Marc Marquez in that element of like, oh my God, he is just on another level. Yes, he did what he needed to do on the Ducati. I agree with you that I don't think they've shown their full colours. Or shown all of their cards yet. There's still something. There's still something in the tank, which I don't think that's a bad thing, because testing is so, look at what happened with, we'll talk about that in a second, but look at Jorge Martin. Little bit of a mistake. Okay, there's not necessarily their fault, but a mistake like that or an incident like that, and he's going to be massively on the back foot. So, yeah, Mark has proven himself on that Ducati. He knows he's going to be fast, and I think he knows he's going to be comfortable. He's already now got a year on with the Ducati, so his riding style is at least adapted somewhat. Like, you can still see that his riding style is still there in certain areas, but yeah, there's no, I don't think there's any issues around what he's done.
No, I totally agree. Regarding Marquez, I think last year was the learning process. Now it's the season where he puts it all together and tries to go for the World Championship. But only obstacle being, which is probably the worst obstacle you could have, is your teammate. So that's going to be fun. I'm ready to see that. I can't wait till March. But we'll see how it goes down. But there's something I wanted to mention, actually, which actually segues into our next point quite nicely, then, is Davide Tardozzi was overly complimentary of the Yamahas and Fabio Quartararo, in my opinion. I think he was very complimentary regarding who they're going to be facing this season. I think it's still going to be Ducati. But they were very, very polite, and they said that Yamaha will be right up there fighting with them. But Yamaha look all right in Sepang. Buriram, not bad. Did top a couple of sector times here in Buriram, but regarding Sepang, they looked fine. But Dan, I think I want to get your opinion first before I start really unleashing the Matt Grant opinions. Did Yamaha finally build a competitive bike again for Fabio Quartararo and the other riders on the YZR-M1?
The time showed they did. Like the time shows. Quicker. Yeah, was it 7-8 tenths quicker than what they
Something like that, massively.
What they were in Sepang last year. Like, they are the fastest. Like, they have improved the most out of anyone.
Yeah.
You've got to say something for that. I don't think you can't take away from them that they've done what Honda should have done, and I think they've just I don't know, they've done something, and they've come away from their weird, like, sort of stuck in their old ways, I think, which Honda have been like for ever.
But Yamaha have been in this for 10 years.
Well, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong.
Issues, problems.
Don't get me wrong. Like, it's taken them a while, right?
Yeah.
But because I think some management has changed in Yamaha as well, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, Lynn Jarvis has moved on now.
Yeah. So now I'm not saying that is. Yeah, I'm not saying that. Like I said, I know that there's been a little bit of changes in the management side of it, and that's happened everywhere. But I just, I think I would like to think they've made finally a competitive a competitive bike.
Completely agree.
You know, we're going to have to see. I know a big problem with the Yamaha has always been rear grip. Apparently, Yamaha's always been a bit naff.
Choose the rear tyre. It spins constantly. But these are the issues they've been having since, as I say, I'm not even exaggerating, for 10 years. These are the same complaints that Rossi, Viñales, Morbidelli all had, and even Cal Crutchlow. It was Fabio Quartararo who's the one who said, we need more power. When I do this, I want to go faster. But when you do this and you go faster, you also go and you send the rear tyre. So, in a way, they got what they wanted, but now it's delivering. And I think they will deliver. They will do it very well, but
because the other problem is as well, right? With testing, you've got so much more running than you would have otherwise. Like, there's so much more rubber down. So whenever you get a really rubbered in track, you can sometimes negate, any traction issues as such because you've just got more rubber down. So I don't know if that's had maybe a play. Even if it has, Yamaha have still gained at least half a second, I would say.
Yeah.
Which is a huge improvement, still
it
massive
really
compared to everyone else. And I think, half a second over a lap, or on average, that's going to put them well within that top 5 in like consistency, I would say. So, yeah, it would be nice. I'm sure looks like they have. I'm sure that we're going to see them a bit further up. But I don't know, Matt, because by the sounds of it, you don't think that.
I think it's too early. I honestly think it's counting the chickens before they've hatched. Sepang has always been great to Yamaha. There's always been instances, even the 2018 Yamaha. I think it's 2018. I would like to say it is, where it wasn't looking promising for Valentino or Maverick, and yet they still. Valentino almost had a chance of a podium or victory before he was chased down by Marquez and unfortunately crashed. I think it was the 2018. It was one of those years. I can't actually remember the top of my head.
Was it the one where Mark just launched it up the inside that was never going to be? Was it raining?
No, he crashed by himself. It was Marquez putting the pressure on behind him. It was about to be like Marquez versus Rossi again, but in 20... I want to say it's 2018 because I feel like Lorenzo dropped a position for Dovi in 2018. So I'll have to think about it. But they've always done well in Sepang. It's a fast-flowing circuit that suits the nature of the M1. The fast corners, the turning, that's where Yamaha's always been superior. So if they're 7/10 quicker now, or even 8/10 quicker now when the grip has been laid down, there are some chances for this season for them to have some big moments. But to say they're going to be the contender of Ducati when KTM's standing next to door and then Aprilia's on the other side, they're not the contender for Ducati. In a way, neither is Aprilia or KTM.
No, none of them are, I don't think.
So I think it was just overly complimentary. I would love to see it, though. I want to be perfectly clear here that I would love to see every single bike, every single rider be available to win. Like 2016, 9 different winners in a row. I want to see something like that.
But that's the whole thing. Like that's what
preference on a winner.
I would assume that's what everyone wants because that's
I would hope so.
Everyone watching wants the same. Yeah, I can't. There's no world where I don't want that. Like how many wins? What was it? The only non-Ducati was Aprilia. Was Mav at Kota.
Yeah,
that's the only non-Ducati win last year. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like it just shows what Ducati's built, but it also just shows it's just, for lack of a better word, annoying. That you do want to see a bit more competition. So
you do,
yeah.
And the brilliant thing about Ducati is what I think others should learn from, because Ducati went from being the catching up team to the benchmark, the trend setters. But it took them till 2016. 2015 is when Gigi Dall'Igna took over. There was a lot of hiring and firings, and Bologna became whole. The factory became whole. There was cohesion between Italy and wherever the teams and riders were during those races. And I think that's where the other teams need to now learn and say, this is not working, like for Yamaha and Honda, which we've discussed, which hopefully the more so Yamaha are sorting it out, and they will sort of get that cohesion again. Maybe that's what we were saying earlier about some changes with the hierarchy, hopefully. But I think we get to see that, we would see more action. But I just wanted to really bring that up, that it took Ducati a long time to get where they are now. And Yamaha have been on this trend for about, you've got to say roughly from 2023, because that's where things started to decline. I know obviously they have never been that great for the past 10 years. Fabio Quartararo is the difference maker in my opinion in 2021. He won the World Championship on the Yamaha and it still wasn't the best bike. Now they're nowhere near the best bike. So I think we will have moments of brilliance 100%. Fabio Quartararo will not let the Yamaha fans down this season. I would love to see Alex Rins. I would love to see Alex Rins back up there. Really would. Alex Rins is one of those riders that I think he can tame any bike. He won on the Honda in 2023 when nobody had a chance of winning on that bike. So we'll see how he can adapt to it. And I think one of our fan questions actually was regarding Alex Rins, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we'll
so
touch
hopefully
on that
that's
later.
Answered a bit of Alex Rins' question there for you.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, I mean, the other one that, the other manufacturer, the other Japanese manufacturer, which is something that we need to also touch on, is Honda. I mean, the statistics, the comparison shows that they've gained, but is it enough? Like, how far behind is the Honda realistically? Because this is what I mean. Do you know what I mean? Like, neither of us went, oh, it's this, because we just don't know. It's really hard to.
It's still bottom 100%, but it's not. It's not that close to even say it's the hierarchy for me is Ducati completely at the top. Second, you got KTM and Aprilia sort of close, and then Yamaha, and then your Honda. But I think Honda are making some decent steps. Joan Mir had a funny comment actually because they asked him how it is, and he said it's a much faster bike, and he was like, yeah, cool. So you're faster, a little bit easy, a little bit better in some areas. But the one question was, is it easier to ride? And the answer was absolutely no. No.
See, this is the problem. So it's just going to be the same. How many many crashes did Mir have? And the Honda,
yes.
That's what I mean. Like every time I was watching a race, and it was just, I'm chatting with my mates, and it's just like we're all texting on WhatsApp, and we're like, oh, Mir's down again. Surprise.
Yeah.
Like, it just isn't a surprise anymore.
It isn't, and that's so upsetting because I really like Joan Mir. And you don't want to see anyone doing that, and I know you're of the same vein. We want to see these people and we want to celebrate them doing well, but I can't defend it. As someone who sees everything positive about MotoGP, I cannot defend the amount of crashes that Honda are having. Marquez had tons of crashes before he finished up with Honda.
Wait, was it? And what was Sachin Ring? Has he had 5 or 7?
Yeah, before he called it quits for that track.
Like don't get me wrong. Okay,
that's not a rider issue.
Well, I mean,
same as Joan Mir.
No, it's not. But at the same time, Mark is always that one that's just win or bin, and he just happened to bin it a lot of times. So yeah, now
I'd give him slack and say 50% of the crashes were probably rider.
Oh yeah. Like I'm not. I think it was.
But Joan Mir is not really a crasher, or hasn't been throughout his career. Moto 3 days, excellent. He was absolutely terrific in that department. A little bit towards the end of his Moto 3 careers, where he really built up the speed. And Moto 2 he was very solid as well, winning a couple of races. But for MotoGP, he was silky smooth on that Suzuki. That bike was just wonderful for Joan Mir. And winning the 2020 World Championship due to that late race pace and managing the tyres. The Honda doesn't have any strengths for Mir to take advantage of.
Which is not a good thing to say.
It's not, but I don't mean it doesn't have any strengths.
No strengths.
I don't mean it doesn't have any strengths at all, but it's not stronger than anything else. So it will have its strengths, but it's not better than any other bike on there. It's not the better bike on the brakes. It's not the same bike that Marquez was stamping on the rear brake, getting the rear wheel moving under braking. So I think Joan Mir, Luca Marini included. Luca Marini is not a crasher. He went, 23 races in a row in MotoGP without crashing? Finally came to an end in Buriram, as a matter of fact. Might have exaggerated those numbers there, but I do remember it was like a high amount, maybe 19 races. So to see him also have difficulties, and Taka Nakagami had difficulties, and it just seems that they need to do something. Otherwise, these riders are going to just lose their stock, lose their value in the sport.
You can only take a paycheck for so long, can't you?
Yeah, true.
Before you just lose the will to live on, arguably, for lack of a better word, the shittest bike on the grid. I'm sorry, I have no idea what they can do to change. Like, let's be perfectly clear. We're speaking of this again from a fan perspective, right? Not from a we know what to do perspective.
No,
But
we're
my
probably wrong in
God,
many things.
do something.
Yeah,
whatever
as a
you're
fan,
doing
we-
is
we
not
need it.
working.
Yeah.
Whatever you're doing is not working, and we just want to see,
I
yeah,
think it's hanging on till 27, if I'm honest.
yeah. I wonder. What do you reckon they're gonna? What do you reckon if they don't get it right in 27? What do you reckon they'll do? Do you reckon they'll just say, "Yeah, we're done"?
I think they will. I think they will get it right.
You really?
Yeah,
You reckon
100%.
that'll be it?
This is Honda, the best bike in
Yeah,
the
I suppose they
history.
don't
The
need
best
it, do
manufacturer
they?
is what I should say. They will be back, guaranteed. They won't. I don't know if they'll have another McDoohan or another Marquez, but they'll be back to a certain degree. And then it'll take that next rookie in the future. Hey, who knows? Maybe David Alonso is the future. Maybe 27, 28. David Alonso, the mini Rossi jumps on the Honda and goes, I can make it work, and then bang. It could be as simple as that. You never know. Like,
Yeah.
from Rossi 2003 to 2004, no one's winning on that Yamaha. Max Biaggi said it's awful. Max Biaggi wants to move to Honda. Rossi goes to Yamaha, he wins.
Yeah. I mean, something may happen. They may find the.
I'm not. This is a bold prediction for KneeDown in the future, Dan. That's the
Do you
bold
reckon this is
prediction.
it? This is what we're calling it here first.
I'm calling it. I don't know about you. I'll call
I
it the
can't.
David Alonso jumps on the Honda in 27, 28 and just dominates.
I mean, that could be. I'd put a bet on that now because that could be a nice tidy little turnaround.
Can you imagine?
Oh, imagine the odds on that. Yeah,
When we upload this, can we ask the chat, guys, put a bet on your odds for David Alonso to join MotoGP and take Honda to the promised land like they deserve?
yeah, it's like. I mean, yeah, whatever people want it, I can't see that. I can't see that. I
We
don't know.
can agree
I
that
just,
David Alonso will be in MotoGP though at some point.
Oh yeah. At some point, he's obviously.
He's amazing.
I think there's no doubt about it, the baby goat. But the one thing that I'm really hoping for, especially with Honda, is because, like you were saying with Zarco is the most experienced person on that Honda now. Or sorry, he's one of the most experienced. He was the top Honda rider. I don't know. There's something about Zarco that I just really. There's something about Zarco I really like. It's just something that I'm just really drawn to him in terms of. I don't know what it is. Like, he just seems to be so determined on that. And actually, to be fair, he doesn't. I'm trying to think. I might. Hopefully, I'm saying this truthfully. I don't think he binned it as much as anyone else.
I would say Luca Marini crashed the least, but he is just not a crasher. He's never thrown.
Yeah.
Well, Moto 2 he did. He threw it a lot away in Moto 2, but in MotoGP he's been very good. But I would say Taka never crashed. He used to crash on the Honda, but not as much as people make out.
Right.
He was always consistent in the points here and there, but when he did crash, it was just clearly like, oh, it's another crash.
Yeah.
Although it didn't. But with Johan Zarco, he has had his crashes. He's had his fair share, but he's more or less been very consistent in the sprints and the races. Sprints are just incredibly difficult for Honda because they need so much time to catch up that a sprint is just not possible for them.
But then the sprints are better because they don't lose as much time over a race. So
Yeah.
it's like,
It's so
either way,
catch-22.
the Honda isn't perfect, but they've made a step forward, like for
Yes.
sure. I think what was it? Mir was saying that he was happy with the bike, but which is again is the point that you said. He said it doesn't ride any better, which
Yes,
is
that
an
he was
inherent
adamant
problem. It's
straight
just
away.
you just get up to that limit from what it seems like. Because I remember again, I know last year when you were watching, when I was watching some of the incidents with like you watch them. And it doesn't look like anything changes. And then all of a sudden, the front tucks. And for seemingly no apparent reason, the front just goes, nope. And it just disappears. And like no one can say, okay, Mark was probably the only person that made saves on that bike that no one else could. But then that is
but that's
inherently
him.
probably a problem. But that was also a problem with Honda, is the fact that there was an element of relying on Marquez for so long. Now that he's gone, it's okay. Well, now they've got no one that can ride the bike to his level, and that all of a sudden makes it a really difficult bike for anyone to ride now.
It does, and I think to echo what you're saying as well is that I think body language is huge in riders. Riders do a very good job of hiding their emotions, but then sometimes they can't. And there's so many times that Joan Mir crashed. You could hear it in the commentators' voices. They're disappointed as well. Honda's faces are gloomy. Alberto Puig is not happy. Everyone's sad.
That shot to the pits.
Every time, guaranteed.
Oh, it's the same face.
It's just disappointment. And I think when everyone is like browbeaten like that, it's going to be such a difficult job to get out of that hole. It would be awful. And you look at the likes of Joan Mir, he gets slated every single time because he only won a race, only won a MotoGP World Championship. Did he deserve it? COVID year didn't happen. And I think it all stems just because of this Honda tenure. And it must be damn difficult. And you look at Joan Mir, every single crash was, why? What the hell did I do wrong this time? And I mean, the iconic one I used in the in one of my videos for the rookies video, of course, Joan Mir kicking the fairing in Kota. He was doing so well in that practice. Yeah. He was up there top 6, following some of the guys, front folds. It's
Yeah.
And I feel it through the television. I don't want you to be like this. I don't want anyone to be like this. And you know how bad it, the iconic saying, a happy rider is a fast rider. And I'll add that, a miserable rider is not so good.
Yeah, and none of them are happy at the moment, let's be honest.
I'll just add on, apologies for interrupting you, Dan, but I had to say this because I love it. It's a great quote. Oh my God, I've forgotten it. Points can't be earned by... I think it was Nicky Hayden who said this, but points can't be earned in practice. So we'll see when it gets to it. I'm sure it was Nicky Hayden who said something like that.
Yeah, okay. No,
I've been unwell this week, so I've been trying. I'm a little bit out of it still. I'm hooked up on Sudafed and ibuprofen.
No.
I might be wrong.
It's all good. No, it's all. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what Honda are able to do over this season. Yeah, fingers crossed. It's all we can do. Fingers crossed. We all want them to see up there finally and get back to 100%. A position. Even if they're just fighting for the best of the rest. Yeah. They're not going to catch up to Ducati, but even if they can just, get upwards of that level of what Yamaha seem to be doing now, it just puts them in the fight. And on the odd occasion, it might then mean that all of a sudden something clicks and they go, and they podium or win or something like that. Just momentum on the odd occasion, they just want to be closer so that they can capitalize on something happening or something working for them. But
and I'll say that wet conditions, Johan Zarco, excellent, and Somket Chantra, stupendous. Given the right circumstances, we could see both of those riders do well in a flag-to-flag situation. And I think flag-to-flag is one of those things that it sums up who's willing to throw it away or who's willing to just take it calm. And I think situation like that, Johan Zarco says, why not? Somket Chantra, he's still smiling. He'll go for it. So I definitely think so. But
we'll see.
But yeah, I'm as I say, I think you and I are definitely the passionate fans that just want to see everyone succeed. So I'm glad to share that with you, and I'm glad to share this with the fans. Fingers crossed, Honda will be back.
We'll see. But finally, though, now this one is, I don't know. This may divide some people. I know that there was also an element of, with how it happened and how it just happened to go down last year. But what we've got to ask ourselves is, did Jorge Martin make the right decision moving to Aprilia? There's lots of things that have happened since then. There's lots of things that happened last year. I think taking the number 1 to Aprilia is, obviously fantastic for Jorge. But yeah, I don't know. Matt, you can go first because that means I can then follow from what you say.
I'm glad you asked me because I have had a visceral reaction to this and I have such a strong opinion that I've been eager to share with everyone because it just screams 2021 or 2020 Andrea Dovizioso. When Ducati dangle that carrot and say, you're the next guy for us, we're so proud of you, sorry that you came up short this year against Pecco Bagnaia, let's try again next season. Jorge Martin ticks every single box, and they go, but I like Marquez. I don't know who to pick. To me, if I'm Jorge Martin, I'm out. I'm done. I'll find somewhere else. And it reminds me back of Andrea Dovizioso's Ducati's decision, because in 2020, you might have seen it actually. Do you remember when? Do you remember when Dovi had Undaunted on the back of his leathers, which soon changed to Unemployed?
No, I don't remember that.
I think it was Austria onwards 2020. But the point being is that he said to Ducati in their contractual negotiations, I want this much money. Because I feel this is what I value myself as, and this is what I feel I can bring to MotoGP and to the Bologna Bullets. And they said no. We gave him a different offer and said, this is your offer, take it or leave it. And I see that exact situation with Jorge Martin. When someone doesn't appreciate what you value yourself as, it's time to move on. And I don't think there was any other option but to leave. Staying with Pramac Ducati, if it stayed as Pramac Ducati, was not an option for Jorge Martin. So I personally think he made the absolute perfect decision for him and for his future. And if the odd situation comes back when he comes, after his injury, after he's recovered and after he's fully healthy, if he does well on that RSGP, the guy's a genius. If he doesn't do well, he was kind of forced out of Ducati. I don't think he's in a lose situation at all. I think it's win-win. The only difference being is that you're not on a Ducati that's as strong as any other, the strongest bike in the grid. But I will say I am 100% in support of Jorge Martin's decision behind moving away from Ducati. What do you think?
I'd agree. No, I don't think you can not say it was a decision that he made. I don't think it was it was the right one. Obviously, I know Pramac didn't even stay with Ducati anyway, so
there was rumours they would stay though before he left,
which I'm assuming was probably because they would stay because of Mark. Like in my head, because Mark was chalked up to be, on the Pramac, and if he'd have accepted that, I think, but this is what I mean. I think if he'd have accepted being on the Pramac would have gone, yep, no, we'll have the Ducati, because let's be honest, they would have still got, because I would have assumed at that point then, instead of Fabio getting the 25 bike, it would have been Mark that had got the 25 bike.
Yeah.
And that would have been it.
And at the very least, they planned the worst case scenario, possibly. I don't think they planned it, but I had heard they may give the Grassini the GP25 and make that the secondary satellite team, which then upset Pramac. Don't know how true that is, but that's what I'd heard.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of sandcastles getting kicked over, let's say.
Yeah, but I mean, this is part of the sport, right? This is part of it. I think this 100%. Is an element of people don't like it, and there's always an element where you're never going to keep everyone happy. Yeah, okay, fair enough. I think Ducati turned around and went, as they went through, and as soon as Mark said, no, Pramac, I don't want Pramac, they went, oh, bugger.
Yes.
Quick, like, what did we do? And at that point, it was just, okay, well, it was a done deal. Martin was always going to say, yeah, well, like you said, okay, I know it's Mark, but look what I've done for you over the last however many years. Yep, fine. And it was time to...
Yeah, that was pure favouritism on Ducati's side. Not in the sense of, this is Marquez, we like Marquez. No, it's pure understanding that Marquez is one of the greatest riders of all time. You have a chance to sign him to your factory team. There's not that many years left for Marquez. Take it while you can.
I mean,
it's a no-brainer in a way.
It is. It's a no-brainer. I honestly don't, whether Jorge is looking at it like it now, but I look at it, you're never going to say no, were you? It's like the way I would akin it to is Hamilton and Ferrari. Now, Matt, I don't know, F1 isn't, 100%, you're not...
No idea, F1
so
alien to me.
The people that... You've heard of Lewis Hamilton, though, right? You've heard of
Sir Hamilton, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Sir Lewis Hamilton, yeah. But, Hamilton he was with McLaren for 2008 to 2012, then he went from Mercedes to 2013 until now. One of the most successful drivers of all time, and then he had an opportunity to... It's different circumstances, but it's the same. It's that... this just golden... It's not the same, because Ferrari aren't They're not the best car
Okay.
on the grid, but Ferrari has just got that aura around it of being Ferrari. They're one of the longest teams in F1. They've been going since it's like they are the one you want to drive with is Ferrari, right? And Hamilton had a chance, and it was like, yep, no brainer, done. And it's a similar sort of thing with this. It was just you are putting one of the best riders, if not the best, or at least up there in that top three, putting them on the best bike in effectively, potentially a match made in heaven. This sport is made of tough decisions. Yes, and that was always going to happen. Unfortunately, no matter how good, Martin could have wrapped the championship up with 3 rounds to go. And
he could have won 2 years in a row.
Yeah, he could have done. If he'd have won 2 years in a row, I think they still would have picked Marquez. Because you just can't not. Also, I'm not, from a publicity perspective, how many bikes are they going to sell? Like I'm now looking. I was looking. This is slightly. I was looking at buying an S1000RR at some point. That's my, oh my god, bike. I want one.
You should.
I at some point, hopefully, I will. But now I'm going. I quite like the Panigale. That one looks really nice because it is literally. It's marketing, and I know it's happening to me, and I know I'm being influenced by that decision of Marquez. I sound like such a Marquez fanboy, but I don't care.
No,
this point, right?
This is just business.
So it just works, right? And it's going to help the Ducati brand as a whole. Imagine all the special bikes, special edition bikes they're going to sell. They're going to do the Panigale V4 MM93. Like, my God, they could mark that for $1 million each, and they'll sell.
You're right.
So, but yeah, sorry, going back to Jorge. Yes, definitely the right decision. I don't think he would have been good going anywhere else. Aprilia seems to be the best of the rest. KTM, well, there was no room for him anyway on the factory team. And Aprilia seems to be, looked like a half-decent bike. Opportunity came up. Yeah, good for him. I think the injury is going to hurt him a little bit more than... I think it's going to hurt him quite a bit. Now, he is experienced enough and he is good enough that he will catch up for sure.
Yes.
But, he's ruled out of every single test now, but the next time he's going to be on a bike is round 1.
It is, yeah. That's scary.
And it is, because you're going in, all of a sudden, everyone's... Because how long's the turnaround test? Is it? Yeah, this is what I mean. So you got another, 2 days of the test?
And he's got to rely on Marco Bezzecchi and Lorenzo Savadori's data to say, yeah, this is the right way to ride it. We've got you a good bike.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, God.
And that can be I'm sure that's quite a scary thing to do. So, yeah, I hope the injury doesn't hurt him as much as it is, but in the back of my head, I just go, like, you miss that much testing and you miss that much of practice time, potentially, a good 70, 80, 90 laps that you're going to miss out on versus everyone else.
Yeah.
Like, that's a
good
chunk. Potentially more. Yeah, potentially lots more as well.
He did 13. That was all he managed.
This is what I mean. So he's going to miss so many laps, over 100 laps he's going to miss out on, which is, how many, 5 race distances?
Yeah, that's a good good analogy, yeah.
He is definitely behind, but I think he is strong enough to pull that back. He's not going to be nowhere. But he has
the mental fortitude to bounce back. No,
he does. Yeah,
the Portimao crash almost destroyed him in 2022, 23. Yeah, 2022. I think it was. Sorry, dates are off. But he had a horrific crash in Portimao. It almost looked like that was it. And you've seen the crash for Paul Espargaro in the same corner in Portimao, and he almost didn't come back to racing. So, and he bounced back and become MotoGP World Champion. So I don't doubt Jorge's mental fortitude. No, I'm not saying that's what you were implying, because certainly it didn't.
No. But
it's just difficult for his job. But I also think the biggest loser from that crash is actually Aprilia, because Aprilia still don't have a major sponsor, and we're looking at a star, a MotoGP World Champion in the shape of Jorge Martin, that's now not there. As much as I adore Marco Bezzecchi, he is not the level of Jorge Martin, and nor does he have the attention of Jorge Martin. So that's a negative, a huge negative for Aprilia, because this means lack of money, not having a major sponsor in there. And to be honest, this season I could have swore we would see a major sponsor join them.
But didn't
whether
they have
it be a drink brand or whatever.
But they never had a major sponsor, did they?
Never. Never. They never have done. They never managed to go with Maverick and Aleix.
But at least nothing's changed for them.
True.
At least they haven't had one and then lost it. Yeah, no,
I agree. Yeah, no, they didn't lose anything. It's just a missed opportunity because for Jorge, for Marco, for Savadori, for Ayagoran, for Raul Fernandez, we're all excited to see the best rider in MotoGP, because you're the best rider if you win the World Championship on your bike. Yeah. So, it's such a loss, and I'm actually just genuinely upset to think that that's happened, because I was really excited to see how he would tackle this beast. Because it feels like now I had a Christmas present, I've seen it under the Christmas tree, and now it's no longer there. I'm opening the presents on Christmas Day, and Jorge Martin is not there. So I'm disappointed.
It's a weird Christmas present, but you do you. It's the whole Aprilia. It is a shame they have lost a lot of data as well. So it is an issue for the team. It's for Aprilia themselves. But the one thing I'm thinking of is it's not the same, because Rins Rins had quite a big incident. So did Enea, and obviously it's taken them a while to get back. But I know their injuries were much more serious.
Enea missed 6 months, and Alex Rins missed 3 or 4.
Yeah, so huge, much more in the way of difficulties.
That's 23, I think it was, right?
Yeah, 23. so and it's taken them a while. Now I know Jorge is going to be back to fully racing fit by round 1, but you're still on the back foot. But either way, I think they are going to go back. Ultimately, yes, I think Aprilia was the only move for Jorge. And we'll just.
He was coerced by Aleix Espargaro too.
Yeah, because they're quite good friends, aren't they?
They are, and Massimo Rivola quite likes Jorge Martin. But a fun fact, a little trivia thing for you is I love this, because Marco Bezzecchi and Jorge Martin were fighting for the Moto3 World Championship in 2018. And I will confess, I like Marco Bezzecchi since that moment of him fighting with Jorge Martin. To see them go so close, battling in Moto3 to now being teammates, is come full circle for me. I think it's great. And even funnier is Marco Bezzecchi it's not funny, actually, let's rephrase that. Even more coincidental is that in 2018, into the last corner of Buriram, Jorge Martin took a commanding championship lead over Marco Bezzecchi, because Enea Bastianini took out Marco Bezzecchi in 2018. So it's just crazy to see all of it come round to full circle. So, a little bit of a tidbit for you there. Just something that goes on in the mind of Dr. Ace.
No, this is good. No, it's nice to know these little... Because, again, I'm still learning with this stuff, right? Okay, so we've gone quite a bit in depth with that, which I think is good. Hopefully, again, everyone's going to be enjoying this.
And hopefully they let us know. Let the comments.
Let us know what you like and what you don't like. My goodness,
I want to hear everything. I want to hear your opinions on our takes, opinions on your takes for the questions we've asked already. If you want, we can leave the questions in there for them to ask as well. We could do that too.
Yep.
Let us know. Discord server's open as well, so if you want to chat, head over to there too.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. Like I said, this is something that neither of us have done before, so we want to make sure that we do it right. But let's move on. So we've got we've dedicated a little bit of time here for some hot takes and predictions. So let's run through those now. We've got first one up. What we want to go through: bold predictions for the first few races. Like what's going to happen within? Yeah, let's go. What's going to be happening in the first 3 or 4 rounds?
Ooh. Bold prediction, first couple of rounds. Is it bold to say Alex Marquez is going to be on the podium? Is that bold enough, or is it safe?
No, I think it's relatively bold.
I'll say bold enough, he gets on the podium, but if not, he'll win a race. I think Alex Marquez will tick that box.
That's more bold.
I'm going for it. If it's in the spirit of being bold and not being afraid of being wrong, Alex Marquez to win a race in the first 5 rounds. That's my bold prediction for the first couple of rounds. What do you think? Quick fire.
I think Ane is going to be up there. I think he's going to win. I think he's going to win. Like I don't know, something just pushes me to think he's going to, for some reason at Qatar, just decide that he wants to win.
He does like Qatar.
But that's just my out there. I think there's something. I think something's going to happen with him. And because look at KTM last year. Look at KTM of the first round of last year. Like they disappeared off the face of the cliff, disappeared off the face of the earth after the first few rounds. But they were just up there.
True.
In that, was it Binder got a podium last?
Just remembered though, Qatar is what round is Qatar this year? Because it's not the opening, because that's Buriram.
Oh, that's true. Oh, even then, I think Ane is there.
Ane is still happy, yeah. But I was thinking, Qatar. But I'm still so locked in with Qatar being the first round of the season. I'm thinking Ane, but
I just need to have a quick look actually, because I can't remember the calendar.
It's funny you should mention Ane though, because as I say, we only just briefly mentioned him about taking out Marco Bezzecchi in 2018. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was to avoid Fabio Di Giannantonio in the final corner. So it shows how...
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty certain that's how it was. I'll have to have a look that back. That is, like, in my mind, like, a lot when I see Marco Bezzecchi, because I was so upset that he lost the championship lead. I was furious. I was so mad. And after that, it was going into Phillip Island, and he got took out again, but I can't remember who it was, but it was in the MG corner, after Lukey Heights down into the tight right-hander. He got took out again, and that's when I think my controller got launched. Not my controller, my TV remote. I like Marco Bezzecchi.
Yeah,
and I wanted to be close. I didn't mind that Jorge Martin was winning. I hate it when you got a battle, it goes down to the wire, and you think, oh, it's going to be good, and someone takes him out. You're like, come on! Like,
I know, I get like that. I get like that.
So I was especially annoyed with that one.
I'm like that with Binder. Binder's I've got a soft spot for Binder.
I know you're a KTM guy because I've seen it in the Discord server. You think you put yourself to KTM. Oh no! Well, you did KTM in the Ace Academy thing we did.
Yeah, I like the get, but also like I gained so much respect for Binder after Red Bull in
2021.
Yeah, like that was again. I think it was like that was my third race that I watched, and I was like, my God, this guy's insane. Like, what an absolute lunatic, and it worked. I was like, yeah, I like Binder. So yeah, right. Qatar is round 4, so technically within the first few races. So yeah. But even then, I think Enea is just going to turn up.
That's fair. I'm happy with that. I like it. I think that's bolder than mine. I think I played mine a little bit safer compared to yours.
Well, that's fine. That's
but I like it.
Nothing wrong with that.
What else?
All right, next one. Who will lead after the opening rounds? Again, we'll say within the first 4.
Pecco Bagnaia. Done.
You reckon? Cool.
100%.
All right. It's going to be Mark. Again, people are going to say I'm a Mark fanboy. I don't. At this point, it's just statistically.
No, they won't. I didn't say Marquez, so that technically I'm a hater.
So you're a hater and I'm a fanboy.
No, you'll be all right. You said the right things. You tick the boxes.
Yeah, but
if you say Mark,
surely. Yeah, but then there's a lot of Rossi fans that are still.
Yeah, true. Maybe.
Am I going to get that's again? Let's move on from that. So, but Matt, so you're Pecco. Okay. So you're Pecco. I'm Marquez.
100%.
Yeah, I just okay. So that could divide us very early on in this relationship. We'll see how this goes.
As long as you admit you're wrong, we're all right.
No, that's not going to happen, is it? Right. So final one. Which team might already? I mean, is that even going to be a hot take? Or are we just going to say the exact same thing?
No, you can only pick one.
Oh, all right. You can only pick one. Which team might already be in trouble? Go on.
Aprilia.
Ooh.
I'm not picking Honda because they're exactly where we expected to be. Yamaha are more or less expected.
Fair point. I was going to say Honda, but that's fair. Do you reckon Aprilia? Was that because of just the lack of data that they're going to have?
I think it is. I think momentum's not there. Marco Bezzecchi has not been great in testing so far. I've been disappointed a little bit, but not too much to say that I'm panicking, thinking it's not going to work out. Just don't think. I thought it'd be a little bit quicker than he is. Still looking a little bit better than the GP23 Ducati though. He did not gel with that bike at all. And then again, no one else did. It was just Marquez who's been absolutely unbelievably good at riding the 23 against the 24 Ducatis.
All right,
we'll say
fair.
A little bit.
Yeah, all right, that's fair. To be honest, I've not actually thought of this question. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe Aprilia again. I don't know. I haven't really thought of this because there's not that many. I think we're expecting. We know the only one that I would be potentially concerned with, which team that might already be in trouble, is potentially Yamaha if the Sepangtest was deceiving. Compared to what we think. But also,
because the expectations are up now, aren't they? So if they start not do well, it's panic stations again.
Mine's a little bit of a 50-50. Yeah, I agree with what you said about Aprilia, because they may be on a little bit of a back foot, but so I've not thought about that as much. So that's the hot takes and predictions. That was relatively quick. I think that was good.
It was.
I think some little hot take and predictions that would be good for us to do as a regular thing, because
I think so, because I
spark
can't wait.
some conversation.
Yeah, I can't wait to be wrong and to have comments to tell me I'm wrong for months on end.
Oh, 100%.
Do you remember when you made that take about Alex Marquez and I go, yeah.
Yes, I do.
Can I tell you, I'm going to open up and I'm going to be completely honest here about my worst take of all time.
Wow.
And it's so embarrassing to say because I jinxed this poor sod. I think the year was 2021. I predicted that Alex Rins would win the MotoGP World Championship. And I said this live in a stream of mine when I was gaming with the Aces. And I backed and I doubled down on this all the way throughout the season. Alex Rins crashed 14 times that season. And I swear to God...
That didn't go well.
Muggins here in his wisdom decided to put a curse on Alex Rins by saying predictions. And I just realised, I swore I would never make a prediction like that again.
Oh, well done. Alex Marquez, goodbye.
Yeah, Alex Marquez done for. Pecco's not going to lead. And
Pecco's
everything's going to go.
Yeah.
Cue explosions for MotoGP. So, I hope it's okay, though. If this is the year that I break that curse, then I would be very, very happy.
That'd be fine. All right. Okay. So hot takes and predictions all done with. Something we wanted to give a little bit of a go as well is do a little bit of a personal side to MotoGP. I reckon this could probably be another little bit of a quick fire thing. We don't need to spend too long on this. There's a few things, just so you can know a little bit more about us. This was Matt's idea, which is a solid little idea. All right, Matt, favourite rider?
Current MotoGP rider, favourite rider, Marco Bezzecchi.
Cool. Mine's Binder.
And yours, Brad Binder.
It's Binder.
I'd love to know the fans' predictions in this one. I'd love to know. I don't know. Let's get a tally going. Everyone who you're watching or listening or wherever you may be, let us know your favourite rider. In fact, answer all these questions, actually. I'll write them down for you. Let's get the answer. Let's get a big... let's collate them all and see who we've got. So, what's the next question? So, I'll ask you for this one.
Go on.
What's your favourite track in MotoGP? Either as a fan perspective from watching on the television, being there, or even playing in the game.
Okay. Being there is difficult because I've been to a few, but I've not been to all. So I've been to Silverstone, God knows how many times, for that windy, wet track. That's been so. Silverstone's always got a place for me. I've done Le Mans. Now I haven't been to watch MotoGP, but I've been to watch.
I think it still counts.
Le Mans.
Yeah, you still get the great perspective and everything.
Oh, God, I'm trying to think of what track I absolutely love. Like, what I really like. Yeah, I mean, Silverstone is just... Silverstone is, for me... Does it only have to be one? I mean, are we just doing one?
Tell you what, you do a MotoGP one and do a one that something that isn't MotoGP. Maybe World Superbike, because I'm guessing you've been to many other tracks that just aren't MotoGP related.
Yeah, I've been to a few... I've been lucky enough to go to a fair few tracks, just because of my previous jobs and current jobs. But like tracks like MotoGP, I think for sure. Oh, God, I need to look at the calendar again because my mind has gone blank.
It's the question I always suffer with. I have a definitive answer and then I begin to question it and start going.
This is literally what I'm doing because I'm going. Oh, I really like this. I really like this. I do really like this. I tell you what, Portimao. I think.
Oh, nice.
Portimao is, I don't know why, I've not been to it personally, but I've done, in my sim racing career, I've done a lot of Portimao, and I really like Portimao.
Portimao clicks.
It's just got such a good flow, there's something about it, and
totally agree.
On a bike, a few friends have done, which I hopefully will do later this year. I might go and do a track day. But a few friends have done Portimao, and I've watched the onboard stuff, and I'm like, my God, on a bike, it just looks incredible.
Down into Primera corner like that.
It's such a good track. So Portimao, and then I think just as an overall track, God, this is, my choice changes almost but Silverstone, I think, is always got a special place for me. I've been there so many times. I've been lucky enough to do a lot of events there, and Silverstone's such a good track.
That's a fair
basic answer, but it's my personal.
I don't think it is, because I don't think many would say, because Silverstone is, for the British fans, not the best of experiences. It's good, but I've been to other tracks, and I don't think the viewing perspectives is good.
Right. This is the thing. If you base it on certain bits, like viewing-wise, Brands Hatch Indy, it is the best.
Yeah.
Paddock Hill Bend. The grandstand on Paddock Hill Bend, you can see everything, and people will know if you've been to Brands Hatch and you've watched touring car or something or anything on the Indy circuit, you can see 95% of the track.
It's
perfect,
amazing,
incredible. I've driven it a few times on track day, and I love it. It's cool. Such a good.
I love how steep Brands Hatch turn 1 to turn 2 is.
It's also. Have you been on track?
Ridiculously steep. I was very close to walking near it, but I wasn't. Available
it's terrifying.
At the time. I was busy. It looks terrifying.
So the first track day I did, I was in an MX-5. It was with me and my dad, and we went to do a track day, and it was cold, damp, and slightly icy. As however old I was at the time, like a 22-year-old, I was like, oh my God, this sounds hilarious. And then I did an outlap, went down into Paddock Hill Bend, and I went, I can't see anything. You can't see can't see down the hill.
Good.
Like you brake, you turn in blind.
Yep.
So you get a turning board and you go, I'll turn in now, and you turn in, you commit, and then as you go over the crest, you're like, now I need to make an adjustment. It's such a good.
It's what I imagined would be driving like it in there, because when I was there, I was genuinely surprised how deep it is. And watching BSB on the television, of course, we're always spoiled at BSB whenever we go to Brands Hatch. And every time you see the camera angle just over Paddock Hill, they're looking, they almost disappear out of view and then pop up, ready to brake. Legs are dangling, feet are kicking. Well, Kyle Ryde's both feet are kicking in BSV because he's a very unique braking style. And I totally agree. I think for a debate, we chuck that in. I know it's not MotoGP, but you have to include it because it's an iconic, legendary circuit.
We'll keep that for another day. We'll have to dive into those. But yeah, sorry. All right, Matt, what's your tracks? Go on.
I will just double down on what I've always said is Assen. Assen is unbelievably amazing for MotoGP. I don't think we've ever had a bad race there. We've always been spoiled with some sort of action going on there, from the iconic battle in 2016.
Was the Magnificent Seven? Is that what Assen was?
2018 was that? Where all riders were fighting it out?
I am thinking of the Magnificent Seven. That is a thing, wasn't it? Like that was what?
I don't remember if that was the name that was given for it, was it? It's when it had 152 overtakes in the race. Might have been more. I don't remember if it was dubbed.
I saw it on the MotoGP's YouTube channel, the Magnificent Seven.
Maybe they dubbed it. Though,
that was it. Yeah, so they did a live, Dutch GP 2018, and it's part of their.
That was terrific. Won by Marquez. Rossi battered Lorenzo's rear seat unit on the Ducati after he had a wobble. Every year. It's amazing. It's always the best one, and. I say that, and I double down on it, but there's always a little bit of part of me that says MotoGP, Phillip Island. It's always good in Phillip Island, but no, I'd have to always stick with Assen. It's my ultimate 100% favourite in MotoGP. Silverstone disappointed me because, unfortunately, the only time I've been to Silverstone was 2018, and that was the year they absolutely bucketed it down, and I stood in the rain for about 8 hours. I spent a fortune on merchandise, I had nothing else to do, and Tito Rabat got hurt and the whole thing got cancelled. And Tito Rabat has never been the same since then. So I don't like Silverstone now because of that reason. It's our British track, got to give it credit. But yeah, I'd like them to move on to somewhere else now, just because I don't want those memories to linger anymore. Yeah. Cal Crutchlow crashing in a penalty when his bike almost hit Marquez and stuff like that. Bad memories in certain moments in Silverstone. Or Johan Zarco taking out Sam Lowes in 2017 into Luffield. I'll show you the clip at some point, because Steve Day's commentary there is brilliant, because he screams. He absolutely screams when this contact. I'll have to show you at some point. Yeah, sure, it was 2017. and I was equally disappointed.
What was the year where Marquez binned it? Because I think I went in 2021 where Marquez binned it in club on the first lap. I think it was Fabio won. Oh yeah, it would be 2021 when he won by like 15 seconds or something. He just absolutely destroyed. That's the only MotoGP race I've been to.
I can't remember that one, to be honest. I know Fabio won, but I don't remember.
It might have been 2021. That's my guess. Yeah, I think Mark stacked it on the first. He hit someone or something happened, and he might have dropped the front or something.
I remember the Dovi crash. That was horrific. Into cops. Dovi rode over someone's bike. Who was that?
Oh, is that the one where he sort of jumps up in the air?
Oh yeah, that was terrifying.
Didn't he land?
Yeah, Silverstone. I know, but Silverstone's just getting more and more scary. Do you remember the iconic? Possibly not, but Moto3 in Le Mans, 2016 maybe. Jakob Kornfeil when he jumped over the bike.
I've seen the clip. I think.
Yeah. That if only Dovi had done the same, and then he. But I don't think you could land a MotoGP bike.
No, not from that high.
No.
Only Miller could do something like that, and even then.
Probably, yeah.
All right.
So what's our next one, mate? What we got?
Type of race. So favourite type of race. Now, you wrote this down. What do you mean?
I did. What's your favourite kind of race? Because this is an interesting one because I know we have fans, and we have fans of certain riders. I like Pecco Bagnaia. I think he's a great rider and he's very talented. But his wins are sometimes a little bit boring because he might just disappear like Jorge Martin did in a lot of races last season and you don't see him again. Lorenzo was the absolute pinnacle of this in 2012. Disappear, you don't see him again for the entire race. Yay, he wins. Let's watch something else. Now, as a fan of a rider, would you rather see the rider you love and adore win by a country mile or at least see someone else win in a close battle?
Close battle.
Every time.
Yep.
I agree. I totally agree.
I'm bored of this whole bugger up the road, pull a 2-second gap and then just hold it. Which is impressive. It's really impressive.
I would say it's more impressive than winning the battle.
Yeah, because Bagnaia did it. I know Martin did it. Marquez did it a few times as well. Aragon was slightly different because Aragon was always going to be him, wasn't it?
Yeah,
low grip.
And the conditions were absolutely awful. Yeah,
disappeared, right? So it was. But I just want to see battles. I'm not invested enough. Some people are, which is fine. I get it.
Yeah, but this is why it's a worthy question.
Yeah, I'm not invested enough in like an absolute. This person must win at all costs.
Yes,
because
you're a fan.
Any motorsport that I watch now, I have my favourites, I have the people that I want to win, but if they have a half-decent race, and that I'm literally, again, with my friends, which we've done before, screaming at the TV when something happens and it's just exciting, I don't care who wins.
Yeah, I'm completely with you on that one. But I do know there's a lot of people who have that link in with that rider, that special bond that I just want them to win, I don't want anyone else to win. Guilty, I always wanted Taka Nakagami to be on the podium. Even if it was a boring race, I would have always loved to have seen Taka on the podium. But I would rather have a battle any day.
Yeah.
So that's why I want to ask, because I want to ask most of the guys as well, because in the community of all the boys and girls watching, would they rather see their favourite rider win dominantly, or would they rather see a good battle where their rider doesn't end out on top?
It's a good question.
Question for you guys.
It is a good question. So, all right, next up, we've got what's our favourite bikes? What's our favourite team? Me is KTM. Purely from a perspective of it looks cool. I like the livery. I like the design. I think it looks striking. It looks good. I know the front fairing is a bit funky now, but yeah, KTM is just something I've always been. I like the look of the KTM.
I think that's totally fair. I'm going to say I have always been a fan of Yamaha. From the Rossi days to the Colin Edwards, the Lorenzo days, and then even moving forward to... I always wanted Frankie Morbidelli to do well on the Yamaha, and he almost came close in 2020. Do you remember the Petronas Yamaha?
Yes.
I liked that one. That was a really nice, good-looking livery. So I remember seeing Fabio Quartararo on that one and Frankie Morbidelli, and I did want them to win. And I've always been disappointed by their liveries because it's been the same one since 2019, but it's a bloody good-looking bike. And I'd say it's the best looking bike still in MotoGP. I know everyone doesn't like the aero, but I still think it looks good. So I'm going to go. I'm going to go Yamaha for my pick.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. So personal side, all right, that's good. I think we've gone over. I think we've done that. Let's round it off now. There's something I put in the YouTube community post, which as well. Make sure you follow us. Subscribe to us on YouTube so you can keep up to date with all of that stuff. Is we post a couple of bits. I put a question out and saying, what questions do you have for us on our first podcast? Now, Matt, we've got a couple. Do you want to go through? Yeah, do you want to go through the first one?
Certainly can. So we have Idem5688. I know Idem from my YouTube channel myself, so shout out to Idem. Thank you for all your support, and now supporting us as well on KneeDown means a lot. He asks, what's your hot take and prediction for this year's championship?
Oh, okay, so the championship.
The full championship, not the couple of rounds that we did earlier. I know the obvious answer, but what about a hot take?
I don't think Pecco's going to be top 3.
What?
No, no, because that seems like a cop out hot take as well.
No. You think he'll have a bad year, so bad that he won't be in the top 3 of the World Championship.
I think it'll be close.
Right. Who's your top 3 then? That isn't
Marquez,
the greatest rider in MotoGP for the past couple of years.
See, I don't know. Now I'm doubting myself.
This is good.
Yeah, but now I'm doubting
myself.
Well
done, Idem. You asked the right question.
Because I'm thinking, I put that as a hot take, and I've not really thought about it. Because now I'm turning around going, who's going to be the top 3 then?
But if he has a bad season, please, God, no, we don't wish this on anyone. But if he has an injury,
Marquez,
it's possible.
Marquez, Acosta, Martin.
I don't know.
That's
piping hot.
That's such.
I would take the hoodie off, mate. It's boiling.
That's going to be the worst. That is the worst take. I think that's not even a hot take. That's just an absolute. But
can you imagine if that was right at the end of the season, though?
Oh, I'd be honest. That'd be it, mate. I'd be like, yeah.
You'd be walking around with your chest out for like.
I would.
Years.
I'd be like, yeah. Like I'm just
doing the Conor McGregor swag walk.
Yeah, pretty much. But no, I don't know. Yeah, that's a horrendous hot take. But
I don't really have a hot take now because.
No, have I just...
I'm too predictable. Yeah, because I was going to say Pecco wasn't going to be top 3. No, definitely wasn't, just to clarify. I guess my hot take is not agreeing with the Marquez fans. I don't think Marquez will win. I think Pecco is going to win comfortably. And I think that'll be it. Shout out to my cat in the background.
There you go.
You can see Rio there. Hello, love. But honestly, Pecco is a dead cert for me. I think he's going to win, again, another big chunk of races. I don't think Marquez will win as many as we think he'll win. I think he'll be very consistent, though, and that's the beauty of him. Oh, apologies. I'm getting interrupted. Hot take. Now, my hot take a few years ago. Take. Do you think that's a hot take is enough? Do you think it's enough? I'll give him my top 3 nonetheless, though.
Got it.
Pecco Bagnaia, Marc Marquez. Third. Oh... That's tough. It won't be a KTM.
Ooh.
I don't think we'll see Pedro Acosta up there.
So it's an
Aprilia. I'm going Fabio Di Giannantonio. I'm going Digi to finish third.
I think he'll do really well. Collarbones, then yeah.
I know. Yes. Please stop wheeling. Don't wheelie again, Digi, please.
People can have fun. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, people can have fun.
I just don't want him to get hurt.
Just don't. Yeah.
Please don't hurt yourself.
You injure yourself. But,
yeah.
All right. That's fair.
Bad stuff. But yeah, thanks, Idem. I quite like that one. Put me in the hot seat, same as Dan.
Yep.
Let me know your hot take as well, and let's see what else we can get. I think there's going to have some interesting and visceral reactions to those, but
yeah, I think we are.
We'll see.
We've made some.
Second one was what we kind of briefly mentioned a little bit. This was asked by BIE Mac 19 BMAX, is that how I pronounce it?
That's how I'm doing it. Yeah.
1664. Apologies if I butchered your name, mate. What really caused Jorge Martin's crash? Was it a problem with the tyre? Now, as we say, we're fans, so we can only speculate. But Dan, what do you reckon?
Well, from what we've heard, it seemed that Aprilia said it was the tyre. apparently there was something
Inadvertently.
there was something along the lines of then something that the internal temperature was 15 degrees cooler than what it should have been, or something along those lines.
They were clever in their approach because they said that the Martin didn't do anything wrong, and Aprilia didn't do anything wrong, which means something went wrong.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a tough one.
It's hard to say that it wasn't the tyre, but it's also even harder to say that Martin didn't do something wrong, because ultimately he's the one that's riding the thing.
Yeah.
So,
but we have seen bad crashes like that.
No, we have. Before. Yeah, we've had some random high sides.
Marquez crashed in the exact same spot.
Yeah.
In 2019.
Yeah, so we've had these random high sides, but the tyre obviously had something. I can't see how it couldn't, because there's nothing. The tyre there was something with the tyre. Like something it has to be, right? Because you've got the only point of contact between bike and ground.
Especially for a high side as well.
Yeah, until it was Martin's head. But,
yeah.
And then, so after that point, so as you start to, it's just did Martin get on the throttle too much after this, just that tiny bit too much, and then it threw him off. Like I said, we're speaking from fans, but I don't know. There's something there, surely. It's just Michelin have now said, haven't Michelin turned around and said, well, there's nothing wrong. The tyres should be fine. So it's just, no one's going to take the blame. Yeah, no one's going to take,
you'd never
no
hear
one's going to take the blame.
Martin had that difficult tyre in Qatar in 2023 as well, where his championship was derailed because of that tyre. And of course, Michelin say, well, there's nothing wrong with our tyre, but you'd never get a definitive answer, would you? But I would speculate the same as Dan. I don't think it was rider error, and I don't think it was Aprilia's error. I think there was definitely something wrong. I don't think it was any ill intent, of course. Possibly just a damaged tyre or something that didn't work properly at the time. So that's probably the best way we can answer it from a fan's perspective.
Safest way we can answer, isn't it, at the same time? So
yeah, because I wouldn't want to point blame it either.
Well,
I wouldn't want to say to you, "Oh, Michelin, this,"
Yeah, but that's the thing. We don't know. We're not in that know-how. Like, we're not going to pretend like we are, because we don't. Like, we're simply interpreting the facts. Yeah, we're interpreting the facts as we see them, which everyone does, and it's good. It brings up discussions, right? Because I know that,
and we're entitled to it as much as anyone to discuss.
Oh yeah, and I know that Aprilia have said that they want to get together with the teams and Michelin to basically sit down and say, right, let's try and understand what happened, and then what can we change, which I think is the good thing to do. I'm glad that seems to be like it, hopefully.
Yeah, bikes are a brotherhood, and nobody wants to see anyone be damaged or injured or battered or bruised.
No, if there's something they can do
differently,
if there's something they can do differently, then do it. Right.
Totally agree. I totally agree with that, Dan.
Cool.
So we got one more, which falls to me quite nicely, but Dan, of course, have a say as well, of course. But this was a question from... I need to enlarge in this, because even with my glasses on, I cannot read the name of this person. Can you read what that is? I'm zooming in. There we go. It is Death the Rage 06.
Cool.
And the question was, do you think Bez will step it up this year? My original thought was he'd have to match Martin. But with Martin out for now, he definitely has to perform. Dan, kind of touched base on that earlier with Aprilia, but what do you think? Will Marco Bezzecchi step it up?
I don't think he'll do anything different, personally.
So just the same as last year?
He does. Yep, he'll just do what he does, and I don't think... if Bez sorted out his qualifying... No, wait, I'm thinking of Bastianini, sorry.
Also, he needs to sort out his qualifying, though. Bez is not the best at qualifying.
Yeah, Bez is is obviously good. It's just, is he going to really step up? I can't see him finding something. Going from the Ducati to Aprilia, it's a new bike for him. So, I can't see anything happening. I think Martin's still going to... Maybe the first round or two, just because he's had so much more track time, and then all of a sudden, Martin is just going to
Yeah, he's going to ascend upwards.
Not being funny, I know that he was on the factory versus the old GP23, and there was a difference. But those two, Bagnaia and Martin, were just leagues ahead of just everyone. I know they were on the factory. Like I know they were on the GP24 versus Bez on the GP23. But even then, like we saw Marquez, Marquez was the only one that could really push on a GP23 on the occasion when he could keep up with those two who were just on another level.
Yeah.
And they just got that innate talent to just be that little bit. So
the craziest thing as well is the GP23 Ducati it wasn't bad. It's just that Pecco and Martin were so damn good. And Marquez was the absolute outlier of the GP23s. And I think take them out of the equation and they'd be right up there fighting for strong points. But
100%.
ultimately, they still wouldn't have been higher than Pedro Acosta or Brad Binder, which shows their mettle for this season.
Yeah.
But for last season, should I say. 100%. But I will say, to Bez's credit, and also always seeing the positive side of things as well, Marco Bezzecchi's main complaint with the GP23 was he couldn't get the bike stopped. The bike didn't brake for him. It just didn't work for him. GP22, not a problem. He was really, really solid in the GP22, finished third in the World Championship. However, the Aprilia is known for a really solid front-end feel. With time, with practice, and constantly improving and finding more pieces, that could be Marco Bezzecchi's boost to get him back up to fighting for World Championship positions again. And I would like to think that is the case. Testing hasn't predicted that yet, but I would like to say that I think he will step it up, but he'll step it up for Marco Bezzecchi. He won't step it up for Jorge Martin's absence. He will just be determined to get back to the level he was in 2023. So I don't think Jorge Martin's impacted Bez. I think there is an urgency, though. We need Marco Bezzecchi to step up for the Aprilia. But I don't think Marco Bezzecchi is interested in what Jorge Martin is doing. His business is to get better and to be right up there fighting with the other boys. So yeah. I think Bez will step it up. But will the results change? Not yet. We're talking 10 rounds in. I'd look to certain races, Mugello, Assen, San Marino, Mazzano, tracks like that. I think that's where we'll see him back up. Oh, and Jerez. He does like Jerez. So we'll see.
Cool.
I've got actually a quick trivia question for you here. This is an interesting one, Dan.
God. Right,
and I don't want to put you on the spot, but I am going to.
Yeah.
I have been writing names this week for the social media posts. And there's a name that is really difficult to spell. And that's Fabio Quartararo. Do you reckon you could spell Quartararo without looking?
QUATTARARO.
I told you it's hard. You were close. I think it's QUART.
You don't even know.
RA.
Don't go, I think.
Wait. Well, I think, for this one I'm asking you, I think it is QUARTARARO. I was typing it and saying...
Oh, it's not a double T. QUARTA.
No, it's an RT. Quartararo. It was a nightmare to spell in every single Excel file I've done so far. I kept going... Quartararo.
Yeah,
how many ARs are you want in your name? I think it's ARARO. Nightmare.
Yeah.
That is a tough one, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Well, I butchered that then completely. Sorry, Fabio.
And finally, Marco Bezzecchi.
No, I'm not even going to attempt that. It's got two Zs.
It's two Zs, two Cs. But I always get it wrong. I always end up going for like the singular C and then going, that doesn't look right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some very difficult names to spell. I'm not even going to ask you, but Di Antonio's name, forget it. Yeah. I still can't spell that right.
I can't even say it.
just say Digi.
I just can't say. Yeah, I just say Digi. That makes
Digi is fine for me. Fabio D.
Yeah, my accent doesn't. I can't do it. Cool. All right. Do you know what? Like I said, we can talk about this. We can talk about MotoGP for hours and hours and hours, which we will do because there'll be lots more of these MotoGP podcasts to come. So,
yes.
Closing. Any closing thoughts, Matt? You want to go before we wrap up?
top of my head, I just want to say a big thanks to everyone who supported us so far. I think the reception we've had has been brilliant. The support in the Discord server, private messages, comments about the videos has been electric. I'm so grateful, and I'm so proud to be doing this with Absolute Dan and with the guys as well. And I'm really feeling positive and upbeat about this. And if there's things in this podcast you would like to see change and improve, let us know, because we are so eager to get this right and to have fun with it, that I just think it's the start of something amazing, and I can't wait to start, because this is a conversation that we've had to pluck up in a way, because there's not much topics. It's Sepangtest and only Buriram today, but we haven't had time to prepare for Buriram. Just think what it's going to be like when we see round 1 of the Thai GP. Do we get a rematch of Marquez and Pecco Bagnaia in Jerez this season, where the crowd erupts? Does Marquez crash in Kota again and the crowd erupt even more? We're going to have all these things to talk about, and I simply cannot wait. So let us know. And Dan, I guess for you, before I get sentimental on our first podcast, what do you think?
Yeah, no, again, if you are still listening and watching at this point, thank you. It's you've been with us for quite a long time as we've been rabbiting on. Yeah, this is something we're hopefully going to continue to do and get better at. It is something that is going to take time, so do be patient with us. If there's any feedback that you've got, obviously let us know, because ultimately this is something that we want to do for you. As much as it will, we enjoy doing it, ultimately this is, what you want to see and what you want to hear about is what we want to do as well. So yeah, appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for listening. And all being well, we're going to do a few more of these. The next one we're going to do should be a pre-season podcast, which will be out in a few days before the very first round. We are both very excited. Hopefully you are just as excited as we are. But until next time, everyone, take care, stay safe. We'll see you soon.